Welcome to Secrets from the Saddle podcast. I'm Sylvie, your host, fellow cyclist, bike club founder, cycling coach, bike race junkie, just truly super passionate about cycling. My journey with cycling started 20 years ago when I opened a spin studio, started a women's race team, and founded a women's only cycling club called Cycle Fit Chicks. I'm super thrilled to reveal all aspects that make the world of cycling operate. I'm so excited to be able to bring you interesting people from around the world, pro cyclists, recreational cyclists, coaches, event organizers, bike shop owners, everything and everyone you need to know or ever wondered about when it comes to cycling. I know you'll enjoy this episode. Hey everyone, what's up? And I hope you had an amazing week. It was such great weather around here, and in our neighborhood we have the Cascanata cross-country ski race happening this weekend. But today we're going to talk about some 6 tips to bust boredom while training indoors. So welcome to Secrets from the Saddle, All Things Cycling podcast with your host, Sylvie Dow, and this is Coach's Corner, or my coaching tips for the week. So before we get into the 6 tips that I have to help you bust the boredom while training indoors, because maybe a lot of you, it's February, you're like, okay, I've had enough of the recovery time off, and it's time to get back on the saddle and get myself ready for the spring. So I know a couple people are kind of like feeling that way around here because either they've taken it off or they've been doing other things like cross-country skiing or downhill skiing or snowshoeing or whatever. And they're like, okay, they see all their friends getting fit and on the trainer so that they know that they're going to be ready for the spring. And you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And you're worried about the FOMO. And here's something I want to share with you. So my Dow Training Systems Winter Cycling Skills Program is still taking people. We only have about 6 weeks left. The price is prorated for the last 6 weeks. But here's the thing. Who it's for. It's for anyone who has a trainer or spin bike at home and who is looking for a way to get in some scheduled and consistent training before April, because you can still make a lot of gains and performance improvement between now and April if you get on your bike consistently. You don't have much time, so consistency is going to be your key. So that's where this program comes in, because we've had 20 people. We did start in October, but the thing is that, like I said, if you have a spin bike that has, because some people are asking me, well, I just have a spin bike or maybe a Peloton or something, you can still join. You don't have to have your bike on a smart trainer and have Swift, but what you do have to have is a bike or a trainer or a spin bike. You have to have your heart rate monitor because we work in zones, so you have to have some way of tracking that. So heart rate monitor, and if your bike has cadence, it has to have at least cadence, power output, which I think every spin bike has power, cadence, distance, all those things, so you can join. So go and check out www.cyclingskillspro.com. Go check it out. You can join today. You can start tomorrow. And what I'll do once you get signed up is that I will be reaching out to you to make sure you have a lot of things in line and ready, and I'll give you a list of things that you need to do and places you need to be and all these things. Like to be, it doesn't take very long, but you know, we have a Facebook group, you have a Zoom link and all these things, and to make sure that you're ready and scheduled in to go. So you can start today, because our next training is on Tuesday, then Thursday, then Saturday morning. So those are the consistent training schedule that everybody jumps into, and it will give you 4 hours of training. You'll get intervals, skills development, and group riding all every week. So if that interests you and you need a place to be accountable with a group and to stay focused, then this is the program for you. All right, so that's cyclingskillspro.com. Go check it out. All right, let's get into the 6 tips to bust the boredom while training. And so serendipitous that we were talking about my 6 weeks or the last 6 weeks of the winter moving into the spring. If you don't join us, then maybe you're going to need these tips to keep yourself from keep you getting on the bike and working through those boring times if you're not going to join a group like mine. All right, so number 1, so we have 6 of these. Number 1 is your setup. Okay, so you have to think about things like your fan, and don't skimp out on this. Some people can just open the window or they're in a garage, so maybe it's a lot cooler and they have a fan in the ceiling, but having a fan on you, I never thought it would be that important because I've taught spinning for the last 20 years. I have never ever had a fan on myself. I just didn't like the way it made me feel. Sometimes it just gave me chills. But now that I'm training a lot more and I'm sitting on like a heated floor, I kind of need it now. So the fan for heat distribution and airflow, your computer position. And the reason why I say this is to make sure that it's, your position on your bike is you're always looking down past your wheel. And if your computer is a little bit up, then your neck is always going to be arched up. And I have my setup something like that because I have a big TV behind it. So I find that if I don't put my bike a little bit further away, then my neck and shoulders get kind of angry at me. So making sure your laptop position is not too far, or your TV is too far up. It should be down so your eyesight is down. Then you make sure you have your snacks. You have some non-perishables. You can just leave them beside your bike. Your earbuds. Clothing is important. So remember, everybody, no underwear underneath your bike shorts. I know I haven't talked about that very much, but I do have a podcast on that episode. So you can go and Google underwear and in my podcast episodes and check that one out and reasons why. Then you can but I'm doing this, buying a dedicated computer to run my Swift. I have a laptop, I run it on it. I'm sure people run it on their iPad, but I can see my laptop breaking because I just haul it around from my desk to my training area to my desk, and it's starting to get pretty beaten up. So a friend of mine recommended going to Best Buy. They have refurbished gaming computers, and you can buy those for anywhere from $189 to $400. And you can just dedicate that to your training, and also keeps because if you're using your laptop and other things, other programs might be running in the background, and you're probably less likely. And you know what it's like when it dies in the middle of your training and you're like freaking out. So I suspect having a dedicated computer, you have nothing else on it, so it's always going to be giving you 100% of the bandwidth when you're running your Swift program. So that's a thing to think about. Now, number 2 is if you are just getting into it and you do have a bike and a trainer, it can be like a dumb trainer, like well, maybe not a dumb trainer, but something. So how I ran my training for the first year is I did not have a smart trainer. I just had a regular trainer. I got power pedals, and those power pedals will connect to Swift. However, it does not obviously apply the resistance, so you're actually working a lot harder, I found. But when you do, if you make the commitment to purchasing, because I see a lot of people purchasing these smart trainers and then they're like, ugh, I hate this, and then they end up selling it. But if you ended up purchasing, you're going to want to maybe check out some of the training apps. Like Swift is one, Ruby is another one, Trainer Road, Wahoo, and Full Gas. Now, these are all programs that you download on your computer. So, number 2 is finding a favorite training app to keep yourself busy. Number 3, so number 2 is finding your training app. Number 3 is if you don't have an app, going old school. Working out on a set of rollers, those can be so powerful. And I just did an episode talking about that. So rollers, they require a lot of focus right there. What I do, even on my trainers, I download podcasts myself and audiobooks. So from Audible, people like to watch movies, listen to music. I'm not a big fan myself. Then, you know, um, focusing on your form and out of the saddle and cadence speed. So, like if you happen to be on a non power trainer, you have to think about these extra things that you're going to have to apply yourself to your while you're training. So form is super important, cadence, out of the saddle, accelerations, hill climbing, things like that. So number 4, off the bike. So it's not always about on the bike when you're talking about busting boredom and adding to your training. Strength training is a huge addition for you. So training off the bike, strength training, yoga, cross training, walking, hiking, skiing, snowshoeing, anything that's, and everything else is going to help benefit your training plan or winter training. Now, number 5, get social. And this is where I was mentioning our winter training program. We have 20 people and everybody shows up regularly, and everybody says really enjoys the program because it offers an accountability. You're showing up for your team, you're showing up for yourself. It's regularly scheduled, so it's easy to fit into your daily or weekly training, like weekly routine. So what we do is I ask everybody to put in on Sunday, like what their week is going to look like. Because weeks change. Like you can't set and go, okay, I am going to do Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. But if I'm going to get extra training in, so I've asked everybody who's been around for since October that we fit in our 4 hours. Now we're moving into 6. So how and where are you going to put your extra 2 hours? And that requires a little juggling, right? So, and does it make sense? Are you doing too much? And so everybody submits kind of what their week's going to look like. And it's funny because like you can get, okay, this is what I'm going to do this week. And then at the end of the week, it's like, what did you actually get done? Like, did life throw you a curveball where one of the kids were sick, or you had to go and pick them up and you were able to get your training in and things like that. So that's really important to make note of that. So jumping into a social group, our social group, we meet on Zoom, we have Facebook chat rooms, so we're all kind of together, and it's a good way because I can actually provide some coaching while we're in there. I know some groups use Discord, or just straight up signing up for a spin class and going attending and being accountable there. So my program is Dow Training Systems. We have, like I said, 6 weeks left. Go to cyclingskillspro.com and check it out. The price will be prorated for the amount of weeks left. All right, number 6 and the last one, setting responsible goals and events. So like I was saying, setting your goals, it's so important to keep yourself, okay, why am I training? What am I training for? Like, it doesn't have to be a race. There are so many events out there now. So checking out the calendar. Then when you check out the calendar, how am I going to start training for this event? Periodic performance testing. So you can either do the Swift FTP, or you can do your own MAP testing, so maximum aerobic power testing. You can pay for that. You can do a 3-minute full out acceleration, which is another way of testing how fast and far you go for that 3 minutes. So that's another way you can do without using power. You just measure your distance in 3 minutes. And you do that a couple times over the series of your quarter, January to March, and you can see like how you're progressing. And also, here's some fun things. I mean, Swift has a lot of things going on. They just finished in February a Tour de Swift with 8 stages. Now, it didn't have to become a race because I'm not a big advocate for promoting these kinds of events because sometimes it really throws your training off. But if you can use it, and the nice thing about this particular one, because I did a couple stages, is that they offer different distances. Now, if you're going out for an hour ride and they're like, okay, there's a 12-kilometer distance, well, you can do it at your own pace for that amount of time. It's just time in the saddle. And so also to make sure, a little bonus, consistency and rest. Always put in your rest days, 1 to 2 maximum or minimum. And, so you still have energy. You don't want to do too much that you're not prepared for so that you are burnt out by the spring. And I see it all the time where people, double up on their workouts because they missed one. So you don't want to be doing that. They do too much thinking that that's better. More is better. Not getting enough rest, not eating well. All these things can really throw a wrench into your physical fitness and health. So be very careful. If you want some advice or, if you have a program, maybe you want somebody to look at, I will do that for you. Just reach out on our Instagram page or through YouTube, and I'd be more than happy to take a look, or if you need a quick conversation, to do that for you, because it's really, really important. It can make or break your season. So with that, have yourself an amazing day. Want to say how much I'm totally grateful for you guys as listeners. Please share this with somebody that needs a little incentive to, break some boredom of training. If you've heard somebody say, oh my God, I'm so bored, flip them this episode. And don't forget to follow us and put your notifications on YouTube so you don't miss an episode. Take care, everybody. Have an amazing day, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye. Thank you so much for spending this time with me on the Secrets from the Saddle podcast, learning more about exciting people, places, and things that make cycling such an exciting sport. I am so glad you stopped by today. Please leave me a review if you feel so moved to do so. I would love to hear your feedback. And if you could take 1 second to share this episode with someone you think would enjoy it, I would be forever grateful. Also, if you could please leave me a review if you feel so moved by going to iTunes and leaving me an honest thought and an honest comment, telling me what you think, and most importantly, tell me what you'd like to hear more of. It would really help me to bring more great, inspiring cycling stories to you. Until then, have an amazing day, make sure you ride your bike, and don't forget to visit my YouTube channel if you'd like to see the full version of this podcast live.